Just letting everyone in Australia know that James Charles is sleeping with Evan Johnson, the one that broke Kayla Malik's jaw and badly beat and abused her.
For the past 9 months, I have been in arguably one of the worst mentally, physically abusive relationships I could ever imagine.
James Charles is once again in the spotlight, but this time, it's worse than ever before. A new victim has come forward with chilling evidence that paints a picture far darker than what's been previously revealed. While James continues to post smiling photos on his social media and maintain his image as a carefree beauty guru, the truth behind the scenes is disturbing, and it's becoming harder for him to dodge accountability. This isn't just another accusation to brush aside, this is proof that can no longer be ignored.
James is sick. He is a sick guy. He needs very much help, and this is something that the whole world needs to see.
The situation with James has become a long-running saga, with multiple individuals accusing him of inappropriate behavior, particularly involving underage fans. Over the years, James has been able to slip through the cracks, thanks in part to the ongoing support from his management, lucrative brand deals, and a constantly curated Instagram feed that distracts from the ugly truths. However, the latest revelation takes things to a whole new level, and the proof this victim has provided is damning.
I can't get into too much right now, but I found out that a close friend of mine had basically really fucked me over in ways I could have never expected, and I got sent proof and receipts, and that person admitted it to me that they had done it.
This isn't just about one instance or a collection of accusations anymore. The new victim has shared not only their account of events but also solid proof that connects James to some seriously troubling figures in his circle. Allegedly, James has been involved with a man who has a known history of domestic violence, Evan Johnson, a person who has previously been incarcerated for his violent actions. Kayla Malik, a well-known TikTok creator, recently came forward with her own horrifying story about Evan's abuse.
It's a small thing that happened. The world ended when it happened.
In her post, she revealed the emotional toll of the relationship, where she was silently suffering in an abusive relationship while continuing to post happy, smiling videos online, hiding the pain she was experiencing behind the scenes. What makes this so much more disturbing is the fact that James, rather than distancing himself from someone with such a violent background, has reportedly been housing Evan, flying him out, and allowing him into his life. To make matters worse, it's been alleged that James and Evan were intimately involved during this time.
Just letting everyone in Australia know that James Charles is sleeping with Evan Johnson, the one that broke Kayla Malik's jaw and badly beat and abused her, the one that was in prison. James Charles has been housing this motherfucker, flying him out to sleep with him.
This revelation is a punch to the gut for anyone who thought that James had learned from his past mistakes or was distancing himself from toxic relationships. Instead, it seems like he's surrounded himself with people who share a similar history of destructive behavior, and that includes a past of manipulation, violence, and betrayal. For Kayla, hearing about James' connection with Evan was a painful reminder of the trauma she endured. She was forced to relive her past experiences when she saw James continuing to associate with someone like Evan, and it left her feeling betrayed in the worst possible way. She shared her emotional journey on TikTok, recounting how the abuse drained her spirit and made her question who she had become during those months of suffering. Kayla expressed how hard it was to watch her old videos, realizing she was masking her pain while presenting a false image to the world. The most disturbing part of this is not just the ongoing abuse and betrayal, but the fact that James continues to be celebrated by millions. His massive following and status within the beauty community have allowed him to keep skating by, despite the growing pile of accusations against him. Brands continue to partner with him, his management backs him, and fans continue to cheer him on without acknowledging the darker reality that surrounds him.
So James Charles has officially hired a former federal prosecutor in an attempt to bully and intimidate the person that I interviewed, Zach, into silence.
His social media accounts remain flooded with sponsored content, influencer partnerships, and products, all while the serious allegations continue to mount. James has even gone as far as hiring a former federal prosecutor in an attempt to silence his accusers, trying to intimidate and bully anyone who speaks out against him. But the most frustrating part is the reaction from the public. There are still people defending James, brushing off the allegations as drama or cancel culture, without realizing the gravity of the situation. To those people still supporting him, it's time to face the truth. You're not just overlooking red flags, you're actively contributing to the problem by enabling his behavior. Whether it's through silence, continued support, or blind loyalty, you're allowing a cycle of manipulation and harm to continue. The truth is, this isn't just a personal issue for James or his supporters. It's about the impact he has on the wider public, particularly young, impressionable fans who may look up to him as a role model. While James continues to build his empire and maintain his image, the real victims, people like Kayla and others who've been affected by his actions, are left to pick up the pieces of their shattered lives. And to make matters worse, James remains largely untouchable, able to continue his career as though nothing ever happened. Kayla didn't just casually post a quick update, she went all out, releasing a 2-part, 4-hour YouTube series that unveiled the chilling details of her experience with Evan Johnson. This wasn't some vague or generalized account, it was packed with irrefutable evidence, including disturbing videos that showed exactly what she had gone through. The footage wasn't up for debate, it was raw, graphic, and impossible to ignore.
Oh my god. Did you get fucked by big black niggas? I hope so, you fucking slut. Everyone on the road said, hey, give me that. Fuck you. You keep hitting me. Oh my god. You are so dumb. You broke my jaw. You broke my jaw.
She started by opening up about how Evan's violent behavior allegedly emerged just weeks into their relationship. She described the early warning signs, the red flags that many people ignore when they're in love, blinded by the emotions of the moment. Kayla recounted how Evan would accuse her of cheating, even while she was spending hundreds of dollars to help him out of jail, a burden that should never have been placed on her. But things quickly escalated. In August 2024, during a visit to him in Nashville, the violence reached a terrifying peak after a night of drinking. Kayla recalled how Evan's actions were so brutal that she feared he had broken her jaw. This wasn't a minor argument or a typical push, it was bone-shattering violence. She couldn't eat because of the pain, and unfortunately, it didn't end there. Over the course of their relationship, Kayla claims Evan strangled, hit, and verbally abused her multiple times, creating an atmosphere of constant fear. She described an almost unimaginable level of control, and it's truly a miracle that she was able to escape. In her second video, released on April 11th, she talked about how she finally broke free. After yet another violent incident during a vacation, she made a vow to herself that she wouldn't go back. She called her mom, saying the words no parent should ever hear, "My boyfriend hits me, and it's been going on for months." That moment, full of courage and strength, was when Kayla chose herself, even in the midst of all the trauma. Just a few days later, karma caught up with Evan. On April 11th, People magazine reported that he was arrested in Tennessee for domestic violence and probation violation, just 3 days after Kayla's first video went live. And in true cowardly fashion, Evan scrubbed every trace of his online presence, deleting all of his social media accounts in a pathetic attempt to hide. But the truth doesn't need to be erased or manipulated, it stands strong on its own, and it's only a matter of time before he faces the consequences.
You're dealing with a lot. Right now.
Like literally.
To everybody at home, like, I hope you guys realize that behind the scenes, like, she's dealing with real stuff. Like, she's sharing with you guys, you know, pieces of the story, but she actually has to live this. So, like, outside of the videos and stuff, she actually has to.
And then also for somebody I considered a close friend to really fucked me over and done things I could never do to a person.
What's even more heartbreaking is that, behind all the footage, Kayla has to continue living with the trauma every single day. She's not just telling her story, she's reliving the pain, the fear, and the control that was forced upon her. But even worse, someone she once considered a close friend has now added to her suffering in the worst possible way. James Charles, someone Kayla trusted deeply, has now reportedly been involved with Evan Johnson, the very person who tormented her. Initially, Kayla didn't name the person in her story, but during a podcast episode, she revealed that she had been betrayed by someone she had put her trust in completely. People started to put the pieces together, and Kayla didn't shy away from confirming it. She liked comments on social media that speculated she was talking about James Charles. Her sister even added fuel to the fire by commenting, "All I'm saying is it's not a lie." The betrayal here is beyond comprehension. Kayla and James had been close, with him even doing her makeup in the past. He had been someone she trusted, someone who sympathized with her as a victim of domestic violence. And yet, behind her back, he reportedly got involved with the man who had caused her so much pain. How can someone do that? How do you look someone in the eye, claim to care about them, and then turn around and hurt them like this? It's not just a messy situation, it's downright malicious. And if that wasn't enough, James Charles is still facing accusations from other people who claim he acted inappropriately without their consent. Despite all the allegations, there are still people defending him, acting like he's some innocent figure. James Charles has long presented himself as the charming and quirky influencer with a sense of humor that borders on inappropriate. His brand has always been built around lighthearted moments and playful antics, but there's a darker side to his behavior that's been ignored for far too long. This isn't just harmless fun, it's a series of troubling actions that have sparked numerous allegations from people within his circle. What seemed like harmless behavior has slowly been revealed to be an ongoing pattern of entitlement, manipulation, and crossing boundaries without hesitation. In one particularly unsettling incident, James allegedly took things too far while staying in Evan's room. After snapping a picture of himself, the next photo was nothing short of disturbing. James was reportedly bent over, exposing his backside in a suggestive manner, all without any explanation. This isn't a one-time mistake, it's a pattern that's been unfolding for years. Time and again, James has been caught in these situations, offering apologies that lack sincerity and rarely, if ever, seem to lead to any real change in his behavior.
Well, we get to in Evan's room, and then he notices, Evan takes a picture of himself, and is obviously him in his room. And the next picture was James bent over on his bed with his ass up in the air, and was showing his ass, and didn't say anything.
Every time he gets caught, he apologizes, only to be back in the same toxic, manipulative situation later. And what's even more troubling is the people who continue to support him or work with him despite these ongoing issues. The silence from those around him is just as concerning, as it shows that they are complicit in his behavior by enabling him to continue without consequence.
I now have, caught on of why he was so, do you trust him? Because they started picking up back on their conversation, and that's when James came back to Evan and was like, well, you didn't lose anything, Evan, out of this. If anything, you won.
What's even more baffling is that James continues to thrive professionally despite these repeated accusations. He's out there securing brand deals, living his life in the public eye, and carrying on like nothing has happened. Every time he pops up online with his quirky makeup tutorials or tries to insert himself into major events like Coachella, it feels like he's mocking everyone who's been hurt by his actions. It's as if he's daring people to hold him accountable. His continued success despite the numerous allegations only highlights how fame and influence can often protect those who should be facing the consequences of their actions. Amidst all of this, rumors started circulating about James possibly getting a BBL, Brazilian butt lift, which, whether true or not, further highlights his bizarre priorities. It's not about body image or personal choice, it's about how, while making changes to his physical appearance, he continues to ignore the more pressing need for him to change his behavior. Altering one's body is a personal decision, but in James's case, it raises questions about his priorities. It's almost as if he's focusing on external changes while completely disregarding the internal work he so clearly needs to do. Despite all the mounting evidence against him, James has managed to maintain a loyal following, with many still defending him. He's convinced his fans that he's misunderstood, that he's been unfairly cancelled, but the truth is, his actions speak louder than any defense he can make. James is fully aware of what he's doing, and he continues to do it because he believes his fame will shield him from facing any real consequences. Sadly, this is often true. Fame can protect people from the repercussions of their actions, and James knows it. But that doesn't mean the rest of us should turn a blind eye and pretend like we don't see what's happening. James's actions aren't about love or connection, they're about control. He's feeding his ego at the expense of others, targeting vulnerable individuals who don't have the power to say no. This isn't a mistake, and it's certainly not a case of someone growing up. This is a deeply ingrained pattern of predatory behavior, one that he's shown time and time again. James has built a career on manipulating and exploiting others, and it's becoming more and more clear that he's dangerous. So, what's next for him? How long will he continue to skate by without facing real consequences? People have been asking him to address the situation surrounding Kayla and the allegations made against him, but he's doing what he does best: deleting comments, avoiding the issue, and pretending it's all a misunderstanding. That's not damage control, that's running away from accountability. And then there's his go-to YouTube formula, the raw apology videos. He comes on screen with no makeup, tears in his eyes, offering up his usual act of guilt and remorse, but it's becoming increasingly transparent. This act is old, and people aren't falling for it anymore. How many times can you apologize for the same behavior without actually changing? James has made a career out of avoiding the truth, and the audience is starting to see through it. But Kayla, despite all the pain she's endured, continues to focus on helping others. By sharing her story, she's giving a voice to those who've been silenced and empowering people who have gone through similar experiences. She's received messages from followers who say her bravery helped them feel seen, and that's exactly what she wanted. Meanwhile, James continues to hide behind his fame, refusing to take accountability for his actions. Kayla's bravery stands in stark contrast to James's refusal to acknowledge the damage he's done. The silence from James, particularly given how loud he's been in the past, is deafening. The evidence is undeniable, and yet he continues to live his life like nothing has changed. But eventually, the truth will catch up with him. Fame doesn't protect you forever, and sooner or later, actions have consequences. So, what will happen to James? Will he finally be held accountable, or will he continue to slip through the cracks, protected by his fame and influence? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: the truth will eventually come to light, and the silence will no longer protect him. What do you think? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and stay tuned for updates on this ongoing situation. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.